rainy and cold in Oakland, but no, I guess spring is what, officially here tomorrow. Yeah, and that's why that brings a smile to me because I love nice weather, and I did have to, when I left America, it was beautiful because we're in our summer. Yeah, right. So, and I live in the state of Michigan. We're not too far from Lake Michigan, and if you ever come over to America, a lot of times you end up being on the West Coast or maybe the East Coast, but there's some nice things in the middle too. And Michigan is one of those areas. Lake Michigan is the 5th largest freshwater lake in America. And it's absolutely gorgeous. We're fairly, we're within a half-hour's drive of the lake, and there's beautiful sandy beaches and things like that. So I think I was hoping that it was just going to be like that here, because I did not do a real good job of packing, because I could have used that sweatshirt last week and things like that. I just brought this light jacket, but now I'm in my element right now. Some of you may have seen I sent to Mark just a list of questions for you, for the PCA group at least, to kind of take a look at, because today what's really important is that this is interactive. I don't want to just be powering something down. What I really want to do is kind of find out what you want to talk about, and then we can go from there. Because my goal today, this evening, is to, number one, let's have a good, nice evening. I mean, let's have fun. Let's get to know each other a little bit more. And at the same time, you have this incredible passion for what you do. You wouldn't be here right now if you didn't love sport. But it's not just sport. It's the people in sport that you're touching. And that's what I want us to really look at and just say, how can we do this better? Because we're competitors. We want to be the best we can. We want to help our athletes be the best, not just in their sport, but also be the best they can be so they can be successful in life. So some of these things we'll take a look at. But just like Mark said, what I'd like us to do is think about celebrations and some challenges that you might have. And I guess it's pretty standard for the PCA to do this. So are you comfortable kicking it off? We'll have Simon just put maybe one celebration or one challenge you may be facing. So if you would, go ahead and kick it off.
Okay. Celebration, I suppose, I was involved in a regional under-21 team this year that won nationals.
Okay.
Which is great, but the end result was winning, but the process to get there and the players that we work with to get to win the state was a celebration. So to be able to start coaching them at the beginning and explain that hopefully by the time they get to the tournament that they don't need a coach on the sideline, they should be able to coach themselves through. And then actually see them progress and lead themselves as a team was probably the biggest celebration, and that ended up, the process ended up in a win, which is puts the icing on the cake, I suppose.
That's excellent. What I'll do is we'll get these on the board, and then right away I feel I want to ask questions and things like that. But I'll wait till everyone gets done, and then what we'll end up doing is there's some things I'd like to go over, but then we'll go back to the celebrations, the challenge, and then the challenges that some of you are facing, and then let's talk about things that are really pertinent to all of you. And really, I mean, I love the celebrations because I always want to know, how did that happen? Was there one or two things that really made that work in your opinion? So we'll get back to some of these. How about a challenge?
I feel like my challenge is current with a different team. I'm now an assistant coach for the senior National League team that I actually played for last year. So the transition between player and coach and coaching players that last year I played with.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you.
Do as I do, not as I did last year, is the challenge, and just getting their buy-in that now I'm a coach.
And what sport?
Hockey.
Okay.
Hockey.
Oh, yeah.
So just finding my place, being able to offer without them thinking, well, you're still a player, what do you know? Because it's quite a transition from being no gap in between players and the team.
It's tough enough just going from player to coach, but then when you have teammates, I mean, people that you actually played with.
Friends and
yes.
stuff, so like just kind of, I suppose, the challenges creating the expectation of what my new role is, as opposed to me not picking a player or a friend as such. I'm more trying to do a job, and they've got respect that I've got different roles within the team, so yeah, that's my probably biggest challenge to fit my way into at the moment.
Thank you. How about a celebration and one challenge?
Celebration, part of my role that I'm doing at the moment is with coaching coaches, and I've had a little bit of an uphill battle with a group in one of the gyms I'm working with. They developed some very bad habits and basically have degenerated down to babysitters. And I changed everything around and had a little bit of negativity around that because it's completely new. And last week I had coaches coming up to me saying that they were enjoying it. In fact, his response was, "I'm going home pumped." And I thought, wow, cool. We've got over the hill.
That is a celebration.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's one of those small wins that really is a big win, because in order to change that type of mindset and eventually the behavior, that just doesn't happen overnight. So, yeah, congratulations.
And the challenges would be, ongoing. I'm dealing with the politics of being a national coach with my Waikato team, with one dominant club still forgetting that we're actually supposed to be part of the national team now, not part of the club.
Yeah. Yeah, the politics is global as far as problems like that. Yeah, we'll see. There may be some things that we can look at. How do you find ways to improve that situation? How about for you?
Yeah. So a recent celebration was when the Pacific coach won a North Island title, and I think just kind of seeing them develop the tactics and things to get to the level over the last year. So yeah, that was a cool celebration. And challenges, just at the moment, it's not actually my own coaching challenge, but my daughter's in a sports team that has awful team culture, and it's doing my head in because I don't want to step in, but just watching is.
How old's your daughter?
She's nearly 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a culture situation, do you think, with that team, or?
Yeah, I think there's like the kids that have been in there for a couple of years, and then there's the new ones, and the ones that have been in there a couple of years, and their parents don't want to kind of, make the new ones feel a part of the team.
Okay, good. Then I'm glad we got that up there. Okay, sounds good. How about for you?
So mine is it's really goes back to the last holidays when we had our players in, because they come from throughout the region, so we only really get access during holiday periods. As we got to set the foundation of our team model, and they had 3 days, and they really picked it up really quickly. Some of the work and the progress they did over that period was really, really good. I guess related that the challenge for them is now is they go back into their own club environment for the next 7-8 weeks from the camp, is get them back for the next camp and still retaining that information and being able to go in and go off from the same start point where we finished, not have a regress back to where we started last time.
That is a challenge. Okay, thank you. For the Chiefs, for the celebrations challenge, what would you have?
Well, personally, it's been cool to see some of our players gain national selection for the first time and see them, perform quite well at that stage. So it's just, I think it's quite current for me. There's been plenty of celebrations over the season that can't really highlight right now, but it's quite cool to see that. See guys reach there, achieve the goals, and they're quite young as well.
Okay. The selection piece that you mentioned at the beginning, as far as, we may be curious as far as criteria, what you look for, you know, all those different things. We'll get into that a little bit later when we talk about the importance of building cultures and the concept of the selection of the people that you end up deciding on in order to be part of your team. So, okay, next.
Oh, a challenge.
Oh, a challenge.
Yeah, a good one. It's always ongoing with, you know, different players in your squad each year. Is just trying to connect with the players. They've all got different personalities, but it's my own PD, finding different ways to get what you want from the players, but also help them, you know, achieve their goals as well. Some are more resistant, some take a bit more, and sort of learning more and more about how you reach those outliers and how you get to them.
It's so important for coaches, I mean, to find ways to do that. I have a workshop I do with, it's entitled Coaching the Superstar, because I mean that can be its own set of problems. I mean, finding ways to connect with every one of your players, whether they're a superstar or not, but it really takes time to be able to learn how to connect. I do believe that everyone has a button that somehow you can find that button and you can reach that. Some of those buttons are really small and hard to find, but and I must say that in my career, it didn't happen often, but I did have athletes that it took someone else. I mean, it wasn't going to be in our program. We went as far as we could, and then finally you got to draw that line in the sand as far as saying, okay, you're either with us or you're not. And if their behaviors were below what we felt was our standard, I could go as far as I could because he was very talented. But if I couldn't find that button at some point, it just couldn't be part of it. But you always hope that you can find a way to do it. And we can talk about that because I think that's a big part. We're in the people business. We're in relationships. We coaches are some of the best that I think at being able to inspire, motivate, unite people. It's basically we're dealing with human behavior. So, yeah, next.
Good. Well, I'm here with Touch NZ, so we're outside season, and so there's no recent celebrations around Touch. But his Sarah's in rugby coaching was just coaching Gwen Sheffield, who's just intermediate rugby at CV. And I guess it's my first foray into consciously sitting the boys down and getting them to create or be involved in creating their own team culture, their own team statement, and defining what things like values and commitment and respect, all those things mean, and recording that and creating a mission statement that the boys actually created themselves. So that's really cool because it's kind of the first step into what I'm doing now, and the reason why I'm here is to learn about culture creation, about developing culture teams. So that's my celebration because that was my first step on the path, which is cool. And coaching challenge. Yeah, this year I've got 2 teams instead of 1. I've got under 16 months. Team, and I've got under 14 boys team as well. So a co-coach in each of those roles. So the challenge for me is, I suppose where to find is head coach and having an assistant coach. And there's some challenges here, as I'm sure everyone's aware. But first time for me.
Yeah, they definitely, with the time aspect of it, I mean, coaching 2 teams, very, very difficult. Yeah. Okay.
Hi, I don't know anyone here except Colleen. I'm Rachel. I'm from trampolining. Recent celebration, just had 6 athletes named on the national team for trampolining.
Oh, good.
It's a really big celebration because it was really difficult selection for this up-and-coming competition in October. So I'm really proud of all my guys.
You should be.
And I got selected as coach. 17 coaches applied and they only named 5. So I was really
Yeah, it's a
pleased
celebration.
that.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, so thank you. Really pleased with that. Challenge, probably similar to what Colleen's going through. I am part of the same national team as Colleen. Yeah, Colleen is part of the men's artistic. I'm trampolining. It's very, very political. It's a horrible political game, and we're volunteering our time as a coach to take a week away from our families. I've got a 3-year-old. My partner works, so it's finding babysitters and support, and even overnight support because he does night shifts sometimes.
Sure.
To go into an environment that you're there because you want to be there. There's nothing in return.
Right.
And to have people treat you not nicely, and just really political. Unfortunately, I am part of the club that Colleen has issues with. We don't have issues, which is awesome, but I'm part of that club, and a lot of people have animosity towards our club, but it's caused at a higher level and things like that. So it's really, it's nasty, and it's really hard because you're there because you love it, but people are trying to take that away from you, and you even have athletes that come in and don't do what you ask them to do purposefully just because, you know. So I'm excited about going to nationals in 4 weeks, but at the same time I'm a little bit apprehensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm disappointed to hear that, but that's a real challenge, but at the same time, that's when our inner strength and your passion and your love for what you're doing, just like, you know, just keep that strong. It's difficult at times, it really is, but at the same time, the reasons that you're doing what you're doing, I think it's wonderful. And the differences that you're making, yeah.
It's a difficult situation because you go away and you feel like you have to watch yourself, and you can't look at the wrong person, or you can't do that. And you do feel under scrutiny.
Yes, you can. I'll be there behind you.
I was about to say, imagine if you and I talk. There would be a conversation had if Colleen and I still had a conversation, which we will. There will be conversations about our conversation.
Okay.
It's good to be popular, right?
Definitely a challenge.
Yeah.
Okay, your challenge can't be as bad as this now.
My achievement, I guess, is just basic stuff that I coach cycling.
Okay.
And quite recently I took a big bunch of boys to teach them to ride on the track. And there's a bit of banter and all this stuff going on, and one boy you could see kind of curling up because we later found out that he hadn't ridden a bike for ages and ages. And then you chuck him onto a track bike which has got no brakes, 1 gear, and he's literally crying, not wanting to push off.
Sure.
So I'm kind of forcing the issue, and gradually the boys came onto his side, so they're starting to encourage him. And so you had a kid who was more or less crying, not wanting to do anything, and then by the end of the hour he was enjoying himself on the track with his fellow mates as well. So that's what it's all about, so just basic stuff.
Yeah.
Challenges is kind of describing training, but the rider or athlete seems to think that it's a good day, why not do double the amount? And then they come back to me later on in the week saying I'm stuck.
Sure.
So just trying to educate.
And that takes time.
Yeah.
It really takes
Some
time.
people learn the hard way, and others
Yeah.
they just do everything, you anticipate what you want from them, and it's nice and flowing, you don't have to say much, and others you have to keep going back.
Well, all of you, thank you. I mean, if you look at the list of celebrations, the challenges, actually, some of those you'll see that a few of the topics that I do want to cover tonight, we can go right into some of your areas, and at the same time, please jump in. I mean, this is, like I said before, I want this to be very interactive. If you have questions, ask. You all have experiences. This is what I love. I love what I do. I get to spend time with coaches who are passionate, athletes that love playing their sport, and we all learn from one another. So, I mean, that's how I want it to be. Jump in it with different things that you want to say. What I'd like is to kind of think about, because through the years I've tried to, I like to keep things as simple as possible. And when I talk with coaches at all different levels, all different sports, I think there's really 6 essential things that I think that every coach should be knowledgeable of. And I'll go through these real quick, and then what you're going to see tonight is there'll be bits and pieces from each one of these areas. I know that a lot of times if I'm doing something for 3 or 4 days, or if it's an actual class, we spend a lot of time on each of these building blocks. The second one is the coaching profession. It's very important that you understand what the profession is all about, what it represents. All of us need to know why our athletes succeed or why our teams succeed. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about something that we call the principles of greatness, how to develop champions, and a word that I heard quite a bit is how to build a culture of greatness. So those are 6 building blocks, I think, as you take your career, make sure, please, that you're seeking knowledge, information in each one of those, because really when you put your coaching philosophy together, it's basically you're taking a lot of those different blocks and you're putting it into words and into feelings. I want to begin with knowing yourself, because knowing yourself, really, a lot of times we just don't take the time to do that. We're so busy, we're so taxed with all the things on our plate as far as coaching, teaching, your jobs that you do during the day, whatever it may be. I like this quote because it says, really, Aristotle said it, it's the beginning of all wisdom. And it really is. Because I have found this throughout the many years that I've been fortunate to be doing what I'm doing is there was a time I can remember when I got my first head coaching job. I thought I had all the answers. It wasn't until throughout that first season I realized how much I didn't know. And now I am so hungry every day to continue my growth, because it's never going to stop. You see, all of you, you're here for a reason, and I take that very serious. I mean, you took time out of your day to come here. I want you to leave with something that will truly, that you'll think about, you'll reflect about, and actually act on in some way. Because always, every time I talk to someone, I'm trying to gain something that I will be able to put into my, whether it's my philosophy, my beliefs. I'm finding ways to try to find, I call them nuggets. I try to get nuggets every day. Here's, when we think about knowing yourself, my question is right now, why do you coach? I mean, think about that. It's a question that I ask when I interview coaches. There's certain questions I always ask. This is one of them. Why do you coach? And can you put that in about 30 seconds? Are you able, if you're sitting in the same office with me, and this is a job, a head coaching job you really want, and I ask you, why do you coach? What would you say? what I'd like you to do is, if you would, just get partners and just make sure you know each other and just explain, talk a little bit about why you coach. So go ahead.
What do you
Okay, let me have your attention, please. I like the conversations. And what we're going to end up doing now is we're going to get the four of you together as one crew. You four will be together. Just move your chairs. And what I'd like you to do is each person has an opportunity. Just go right around and just say, I coach. Da, 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 da. So just share it with three other people. So go ahead.
Are you talking about what sport or your reason for coaching? Why you coach? Is that what it's your question? We're talking about sport. Why we coach? Why we coach?
You can take it either way. Why you coach your sport, whatever. Take it any way. I'm just curious. I just would want to know, okay, why do you coach? And the reason I ask that question is because the number of hours that you're putting into this. Even tonight, you're away from your families. You're doing all these things. Why? Why? Why are you doing this? And it's, we're in New Zealand. I mean, I don't think it's monetary. I mean, it's not because your salary is so large that, oh, wow, how can I turn this down? You're doing it out of, I don't know what. Is it passion, love? That's why I'm asking. Why do you do this? Why do you coach? Okay, go ahead. In your group, one person at a time.
They move on. The next stage is they figure out who to start out. It's an amazing group.
It really is.
That's the moments that you are just wow. And nothing else does that.
Thank you.
I feel similar in terms of really good things.
Okay. Who wants to go next?
I was saying,
And
I actually have to ask myself that.
yeah,
Last year,
part of successful teams and
that's what you do.
saying you put a lot of time involved in sport, so
Yes, that's a great question that you have to really dig deep and determine.
explaining
Yes.
competitions and games.
I mean, I kind of vary purely because I've got a lot more passion for cycling now as well as years gone by. And I guess you could say that youngsters are giving up their time to have a go at the sport. So you want to try and pass on your passion to that boy or girl. So I mainly focus on the girls because I'm a sport cycling
I mean, you can feel that.
Girls
You can really feel her passion. I mean, she's saying it. She's saying that she's passionate, but I can feel it, and I can tell how much you truly care and how much that really. Wow. I mean, there is a great feeling that just when you see that happen.
So,
Okay. Why do you come?
and also they form a good type of session it is. They generally create their own social group as well. So turning up racing on Fridays, yeah, they're there to race, but also when they're not racing, it's music lasting and a good time. So, which I think is really important. Not necessarily the serious side of it, but it's just sharing the love and the passion.
That's great. Yeah, that's neat.
Then it started out and I fell into the job.
What? You fell into it?
Fell into it pretty much, yeah. I walked into a someone said, what job do you have? And what job? I said, oh, we need trampoline coaches. So I had the qualifications through another job that gave me a million different sports qualifications, which I'm looking to coach sports now. And I realised it's something I was good at. I just enjoy it. I have awesome relationships with the kids I coach. I have fun. I like going to work some of the time, most of the time. Sometimes I don't. But it's something that I just really enjoy and I love. I love being able to make a difference in the kids' lives. Kids that sort of ended up around the street corner, take over here and things like that. And I just know that I've made a difference in a couple of kids. And that makes me feel good. And also, the extra bonus on it, on top of loving it, is it fits in with my life. And I get paid for it, which is just yeah, I've got a 25-hour contract. I do what I want all day, every day, and then I go and work and live. And it works perfectly and I get paid to do it. Makes it, it's not a lot, but
Well,
This bus is going this
it
way.
makes it
You take that
I've
bus.
got that analogy.
me doing something I really enjoy and have fun doing it. I go to work most days and my manager looks at me and looks away and I'm having fun with the kids.
They're not going to
Having a laugh.
your system, then there's no.
Has everyone had a chance?
Yep.
Okay, fantastic. Colleen?
Hello. Yes.
Yes. I must say, I mean, really, I heard all four of the responses, only was able to get to hear just part of one over here. The energy, though, I mean, seriously, it just, even that you were giving to each other with your responses, but what you gave me, because it truly, as I listened to what you were saying, it's why I feel very, very fortunate. I've spent my whole career in sport. And I've been able to do this full time. I mean, I started as an athlete, but then I had years of coaching men's basketball, and I became an administrator overseeing 27 sports at the United States Military Academy at West Point. Retired from West Point 4 years ago, and have had opportunities to basically worked in Singapore doing similar things there. Now this is my fourth year in New Zealand. Then I work with selected universities where I work with their team. So I handpick places, and I handpick I'm not driven by money. I'm not driven by an ego. I select positions on people. And Mark said, this is my 10th trip, but what you just did tonight, hearing your voices and hearing what you said, it just makes me realize why I love coming to New Zealand. Because there's this pure feeling of wanting to help others succeed and be the best they can. And Colin, what I'm going to ask you to do is would you get up and just tell everyone why you coach? I hate to put you on the spot, but I really would like everyone to hear what you said.
Okay. I coach initially because I'm a born teacher. I love the process of teaching, and it just works for me. I went to Sunday school and I hated it as a church until they let me teach Sunday school. I went happily every day teaching Bible stories. I wasn't really interested in them, but enough teaching. And coaching rewards, challenges and inspires me because I get to work with a little child who doesn't know anything about what their body does or how it does it, and I get to teach them about that. And then I get to see the process where, as they move on and learn more, where they suddenly realise it's not about me, it's about them. And when that light goes on, that is a magic moment, and those magic moments are what you do. And there's nothing else I've ever done that has those magic moments. Coaching is it.
Thank you. Thank you. Give her a hand. I mean, that was very nice. Each of your stories are special. And each of you, if I'd ask you to come up, I'd have the same emotions. Let's see how much we can get out of this today. And some of you I already heard, but very quickly, I want you to think about how do you define success? If I was interviewing you, and I would say, what does success look like to you in your sport? What does success look like? And there's not a certain right answer. I'm not saying that my answer is correct and someone else's is not. Not at all. I think that's the beauty of what we do. But I think that you, as you create your philosophy, you need to know what is success and come up with your own definition of what success is for your athletes, for your team, for you as a coach. I was very fortunate because early in my career, I had a mentor by the name of Coach John Wooden. And Coach Wooden was a men's basketball coach at the University of California at Los Angeles, UCLA. Many have said in America that he is the greatest coach of all time in our country. He won 7 consecutive Division I university championships, won 88 consecutive games, won over 80% of his games throughout his career. But here's the thing. He never talked about winning. He did not use the word winning. He was one of the winningest coaches of all times. He didn't use the word winning. And when he was he started out as a secondary school coach when he was a high school coach. Parents were complaining to him about, and always talking about, wanting their son or daughter, he coached boys basketball, so their son to be successful, and they felt the only way to be successful, the parents thought, was to win. Well, Coach came up with something that took him 14 years to create, and it's called the Pyramid of Success. Go online, there's no copyright on it. And what he taught me, because I was so driven early on that I defined success by the number of wins. He helped me understand something. And he talks about success is basically knowing that you did your very, very best, or that you got your team or your athlete to do the very best that they could. And he was convinced that if you select the right people, and he used to say this all the time. He used to say, we want our boys to be the best that they can for the good of the team. I mean, that last phrase is very important. He coached a team sport. Be the best that you can be for the good of the team. If we were in a changing room right now and I just said to you, we gotta win tonight, what am I really telling you? I could be even probably adding more pressure. I'm not giving you any specific things like tonight we're going to block out, we're going to control the boards, we're going to do this, this, and this. Okay. What Coach did such a great job of helping me understand is that really, I mean, winning is a byproduct. Winning will take care. If you produce and develop the people that are producing the points, the wins will happen. Yes, do we all want to win? Of course we do. We're highly competitive. I'm as competitive as anyone. But when I got to the point when I realized that winning truly is a byproduct, help your athletes understand the things they need to be doing in order to become their very best. The wins will take care of themselves. Okay, next question. What are your 3 greatest strengths? I always ask this in an interview. I would like you to know your 3 greatest strengths, your 3 greatest strengths. And I call these signature strengths. Because I believe that as we start working with young people, they need to understand and be able to look in a mirror and know that they are strong in these areas and take pride in it. Too often, coaches, they tell people all the areas that they're weak. You need to improve here. You need to improve here. I definitely understand. Yes, they do have to improve. But make sure that they understand what their strengths are, because part of that improvement, they're going to make a lot of mistakes. With a lot of the athletes I'm working with today, and I work with elite athletes, they still are somewhat fragile. When things don't go the way that they want, okay, they start losing that little bit of self-belief or that self-confidence. That's where they have to quickly be able to refocus and get back to their signature strengths. And signature strengths and something called moments of excellence, we call them MOEs. I want all my players I'm working with, the coaches I'm working with, I want them to really have their strengths where they know I am not just good, I'm great. No one works harder than me, or whatever it may be. Whatever your strengths are. And then I want you to always think back on those special celebrations, those moments of excellence. When you had that gymnast, get selected for whatever it may be, or a national championship, or first place, a gold medal. That's moments of excellence. You talked about moments. I'm big into moments. I want those moments of when someone is being at their best. I want that. That's the tapes that I want a person to play, because you're increasing the chances of that happening over and over again. Write down, I'm not going to ask you, you don't have to stand up and share them with anyone. Write down your signature strengths. Your 3 greatest strengths. You can answer that however you want, as a person, as a coach. The next question then, if I was sitting there working with you, I would ask you this. What behaviors would I see that you do? If I came in, if you were an athlete, and someone gave their signature strength, I would ask them, tell me what that looks like. If I came into training, or if I watch you play, what will I see? Because I want players to be able to not just say, I'm resilient, that happens to be one of your top 3 strengths. I want them to define it in behaviors. So it's not just resilience. This is how they demonstrate. This is the behavior that indicates that they're resilient. I think being able to do that, where an athlete, first of all, can explain that, they can see it when someone has it, but then they have to feel it. All those different senses, to me, are really important. When I work with a team, I do this individually, but then all of a sudden I would divide the team up into small groups. And let's say the 2 of you would be together, I'd divide them, first of all, with partners. And the team has been together for a long time. And then basically I would have the one player write down the 3 signature strengths they think, or the 3 strengths of their teammate. So now all of a sudden, you're hearing what someone else says. The two of you you'd say, well, I think that what I see, your 3 strongest qualities are this, this, and this. Now, if it's the same 3, wow, okay, but what if you heard another one? You'd say, wow, she thinks I'm really strong in this other area. Next thing you know, as a team, what do you have to do? You have to work together. You have to have that team identity of knowing each other's strengths and respecting it. So, I mean, it's this whole thing of signature strengths goes far beyond just one person. Have your athletes sometime do it individually. When they're with their peers, this is really difficult. But individually, write down the three strengths for each one of your athletes. Compare what they say to what you say. It's getting to know your players. Okay, now let's talk about knowing the coaching profession. This for sure, coaches live in a fishbowl. Be very, very careful. Always understand that. Be careful what you say. Be careful what you do. Because people are watching. Parents are watching, your athletes are watching, opponents are watching. And in coaching, a cardinal rule. You cannot please everyone. There is going to be people that want you to fail. Don't give them anything that could be taken in a negative way. Make sure, and with players, make sure that they, with social media, be very, very careful. So all this is something we spend a lot of time with our today's athletes, understanding that, hey, they're Division I athletes. They're some of the best athletes in America. They live in a fishbowl. They go to a club on a Saturday night, you know what? It's a fishbowl. There's so many eyes on you, how you behave, etc. Coaches, same thing. These are my thoughts on the coaching profession, and actually, when you said why you coach, it just reinforces all these different things right here. But let's flip it. Let's look at some of the things as far as the coaching profession. In New Zealand, there's very few full-time jobs. To me, that's a negative. I mean, you're doing this and working full-time. Number 2, I think you would all agree on that. There's stress. Every decision you make on game day, highly visible, is time-consuming, and it really, you have to have a special family. You have to have a real special family with the amount of hours that you're away from your children, your spouse, significant other. I always say this, I love the profession. I love the coaches that are in the profession. Let me reword that. I love the coaches that are in the profession, but always know that the profession can bring out your best qualities. It can also bring out your worst. It's highly competitive. So let's make sure that you understand that. When I was growing up, they used to say, oh, you're playing sport. Sport builds character. Sport by itself doesn't necessarily build character. Sport reveals character. Watch Saturday night with the All Blacks and the Australians and the contrast. And to me, it reveals character. Sport develops character when there's coaches like you that truly care about young people, you care about values, you care that they're learning lessons that's going to help them in school and in life. So sport by itself does not necessarily build character. let's look at a little bit about building a culture. And I'd like, first of all, to make sure that we're speaking a common language when we talk about culture. It's an area in America that I think that we've done a poor job in coaching education, in helping our young coaches, our up-and-coming coaches, really understand how to build a culture. We do an excellent job as far as teaching fundamentals, all these different tactics and the technical aspects of the game. But with the people aspect of it, as far as building a culture, to me, this will be absolutely essential for all of you and your success. What is culture? I like to say this: it's just the creative sum of all the people on a team. It's their thoughts, it's their feelings, and it's their behaviors. You put all of that together, and that becomes how they do it. When no one's around, the culture, okay, this is how we do things around here. Every team has a culture. It either comes as a result of an organized effort to build it, or it develops by chance. Your culture either works for you or against you. I mean, think about the teams that you've coached. Think about the culture. Do you leave it to chance? Or, as a leader, as a coach, do you have things in place that will help develop that culture? It starts at the top. Leaders create culture. Culture drives behavior. And behavior produces results. See how this whole culture piece is a lot deeper than what a lot of times we think. I like coaches to understand every contact you have, everything that you do, it either helps, hurts, or hinders the creation of a culture of greatness. That's how important it is. Everything that you do. When we talk about culture, there's three moving pieces. And those three moving pieces, great coaches have a way of getting those pieces in harmony and aligned. At the top, you have people. You have structure. Think about your program right now. The structure provides a strong and a real strong and enabling foundation. The process, it ensures that everything gets done the way that you want it to be. So if you think of culture, you got three things. Think about your structure. If I ask you, okay, in your program right now, what is that? What are the pieces that you have that you consider is the structure of your program? I'm just curious. I want to make sure I'm on the same page with the word structure. What would someone say? Again, there's no wrong answer. The what? The plans. Okay. Yep. And if we take those plans, the plans end up, once you put them in action, will become the process. Let me ask you this. Do you have, how many people have core values? Anyone have core values?
Everybody does.
What's that?
Everybody does.
Okay. For your, yeah, well, I believe, personally, yeah, I think you do have values. As far as your team, does your team know what the team's core values are? Where I'm going with the structure, here's the things that I believe there's requirements, and if you would just jot these down. Just someday you may want to look back on this, and you get the opportunity, or even as a head coach right now, when you're building a culture, there's 5 things that you need to strongly consider having. And actually, right now, you do. All of you have goals, whether you call them standards, guiding principles. I'm sure you have something like that. Expectations. At one time, people called things rules. We've gotten away from the team rules. It's team expectations. But to me, it really starts with this whole concept of core values. Because that really is the common thread that's going to unite all your players. They have to be shared values. It's one of the most important things I think that a team must have. A vision. Why you're doing this. Look at those words and just consider. Because probably either with different words that you're using right now, you'd be able to kind of fill in, yeah, okay, my program has this. My program has that. I think it's really important. That's what I call is a structure. We'll get back to culture. I mean, everything that I'm talking about is culture, but I wanted you to get that understanding of people, structure, process, and getting those aligned. Okay. Knowing why teams win. If you were listening, I gave you this answer, but what produces results? You remember what I said? What produces results? It's really, when you think about it, it's behaviors, okay? It's actions. Okay. Think about any result that you're trying to get. Okay, the way that it's going to happen is it's going to be behaviors. As a coach, you know, in order for your team, whatever your goal is up there, what you're striving for, you know what type of behaviors that an athlete has to have. In hockey, for example, I mean, on the field, I mean, if I ask you, okay, tell me key behaviors that will help your team become the best that they can be, you would just say, okay, fine, this behavior, this behavior, this behavior. In men's basketball, I'd be able to tell you, okay, fine, we need to be able to do this, 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 and this. Okay? Maybe I'm using the word behaviors, but I'm just saying, okay, as coaches, we know the actions or the fundamentals, whatever you want to call them, that need to be accomplished in order to get the result. So behaviors will produce results. What I'd like us to look at it, though, I spent a lot of my coaching career, and that's all I looked at. I knew I was really good. I knew exactly what I needed my players to do in order for us to be successful. But what I didn't, I got frustrated with players when I couldn't get them to do it the way that I wanted it done, or I got frustrated with players that they just did enough to keep that starting position, but they were underachieving, and you knew they were underachieving, and you had to find that right button that you were trying to press to get them to really be everything they can. That's where I'm going with this. To me, this was a real turning point in my growth when someone helped me understand that I was only digging to a very low level. They said, you got to dig deeper. You've got to find a way to connect, and you're right here just like about everyone else. You want to get a competitive edge? Then learn how to dig deeper. And I kept thinking, dig deeper. Okay, yeah, I'm digging, but what am I supposed to find? And then all of a sudden, it's just like, wow, the light kind of went off. What drives behaviors? Okay, think about this. Just from a personal standpoint. I'll tell you, just from the responses that you gave me earlier, your behavior this evening is you came here. Okay. What drove that behavior?
Desire to be better. Desire to be better.
Okay.
I say desire as well. Desire to live in.
Okay. Sounds good. And the desire to learn will do what? If you learn, learning helps what? Yeah, it helps you to succeed, helps you become a better teacher. Yeah, okay. Look at it this way. What really drives behavior, if you want to just kind of make it simple, it's something that you truly value. You value learning. Your belief, if your belief is, if I come tonight and I learn, I believe that I may gain something that's going to possibly make me a better coach. Take it out of the realm of tonight. When you really value something in life, if it's really important to you, most people find a way to do it. Okay. So let's go back to my mentor. He's saying, okay, I could strengthen the behavior if I could somehow make a connection so that the players that I'm working with truly value something or really believe that what I'm asking them to do is going to make a difference. It's going to help us win the cup and get a championship ring. Whatever in a player's mind, whatever it may be. Something that they value. Well, once you get that, then all of a sudden you got a player or a person that is all in. They don't have to weigh it out. Well, should I do this or shouldn't I? All of a sudden, they value it to the point that they're in. And next thing you know, that player goes from here up to here. I've seen it so many times. It takes great teachers and coaches and connectors like you to try to see how you can make this more real in a young person. How can you get them to truly want something or value something or believe in it so deep that they just do it? Okay. What nurtures? My mentor said, dig deeper. There's even more. What nurtures, values, and beliefs? Basically, if you think about it, take your beliefs right now.
Experiences.
Yeah, it's your experiences. Okay, the experiences. Well, now let's take your coaching, and you're providing experiences every single day or every training session for your athletes. Those experiences, just like your life experiences, whether it's from your family or from a coach, whatever the area may be, your experiences have shaped your values and beliefs. Guess what? We're working with young people that the experiences that we can provide can potentially impact their beliefs and values. And you can see it with your own children through the years. There's quite a few years they'll fight you on it a little bit, but eventually you'll see. Okay. So the experiences nurture values, beliefs. But let me take it from with the athletes I'm working with right now at the University of Minnesota, a Big Ten university. I'm working with their women's football team. And they were highly, highly recruited. They could have gone to basically any big university in America. We get them when they're 17 or 18 years old. Now what we always have to remember, just like with the athletes you're dealing with, these experiences, these athletes have years of experience before they come to you. And they have formed certain beliefs. Some of our athletes are in this system that they're a little bit entitled. They think everything should be handed to them. It's all come very easy for them. So now that's what their experiences were before they came to you. That's why this is difficult. It's challenging because now, even with your young athletes, they have experiences at home. They hear what their parents are saying to them about whatever this is and this and this is, and then suddenly they start thinking, well, that must be the truth. That's what they start believing. So our job as coaches is make sure that every day that everything is aligned. Make sure that that structure that I was talking about, that I showed you before, those 5 things I asked you to write down, make sure that all your experiences that you provide during training is supporting those beliefs, that structure. And if you do, then it's going to promote the behaviors that you're trying to get and the results. Any questions on that? Take it home and think about it. I mean, really, it took me a long time before I really could kind of put this together. Now, the connections that I'm trying to make with athletes, I have this in mind all the time because I know the power of once they're able to truly understand and value and believe in something, their behaviors are going to be extremely stronger than what they ever were before.
Would your values and beliefs change if you keep on winning? If you keep on winning, would your values and beliefs change?
Yeah, that's a great, yeah.
More demanding?
Yeah, you know what, you see, well, what happens sometimes, I'm going to take it from a player perspective, and that's why it's so hard to build dynasties. And that's why I appreciate so much what the All Blacks have done, because sometimes people, once they win a championship, they don't stay quite as hungry. And so their belief is, well, we won it last year, so we'll win it again this year. So you have to be working on this all the time. It's not, you can't just say, oh, we got it. Isn't this wonderful? We're going to win forever. No, you're not. Because there's going to be circumstances. That's why I said the culture. You got 3 moving pieces. And you're constantly trying to get them aligned. People are constantly changing. I mean, that's a huge one. You can keep your structure pretty much the same, but the people, and then your process, you've got to make sure that you're getting them aligned. You know, sometimes you get kind of 2 out of 3, but it's very difficult. Yeah, so that looks really pretty on that PowerPoint slide, but you try to get that aligned like that, and even with us. I mean, yeah, sure, it's not like my values have stayed the same, or my beliefs, even like in sport, and understanding that sport, at one time probably when I first started coaching, oh yeah, sport builds character. I mean, yeah, sure, through your experiences, it ends up as your experiences, as you validate your experiences, then it's impacting your beliefs. That's a great point.
So when you've got a manager or someone that's been in the role, say 15, 20 years, and then he or she retires, how does a new manager fit in?
Yeah.
Do they hop on board the established values and beliefs, or do they try and that's why there's stumbling blocks along the way. You only get managers lasting a year or whatever.
Yeah, what you're talking about, actually, I'm doing a talk on it on Monday, and it's leading change. It's leading change successfully. It's one of the things that I building cultures and leading change successfully is throughout the world right now. Everyone is crying out for it because leading change is so difficult. It comes down to making sure that you know what your beliefs are. And so when you take that new position, and let's say your beliefs are a little bit different, okay, delicately, because again, you have to do it very strategically and depending on the landscape. You got to read situations. You just can't go in there and say, okay, fine, we're erasing all this. In most cases, you can't. I mean, you have to just make sure that how you're doing it is a way that is increasing your chances for success. In a second, we're going to do an exercise, core values. And I think the core value exercise, when I would go from different programs, I love taking a program and taking it to a certain level, then I got that itch again to build something. And I was just me. So, I mean, we can talk a little bit about that, but yeah, someone had a question. Yes?
Can you talk to, if you don't mind, with your football group, the women's football group, some of the experiences that you've introduced to them?
Sure.
To align those values and beliefs?
Yeah, very much so. What we end up doing, first of all, is, in fact, in a slide or two, I'll give some examples. And if you're interested, I don't have it in this packet right here. I sometimes do a talk just on the actual activities that we've done at Minnesota. We took over a program, we had to change a culture. And like I said, this is my 4th year doing it. And I mean, we struggled initially. We got some traction. Last year, if you take it from, we have good people. We have good people in the program. We had to weed some out. We got rid of one of the most talented players in the country. She transferred to Stanford and was an All-American. She was not, we did everything we could. There was one of we couldn't quite get we couldn't find the button. We could not get her. She was everything that we didn't need as we were building. Self-centered, it was all about her, wasn't interested in any of this business of caring for one another. So, I mean, it was, yeah. So we ended up doing, if we had to, we got rid of some people. And then when we got the right people on the bus, we made sure they were in the right seats, we had the right driver, and we were ready to roll. And then I have a list of different things that we did. I'll show you a couple of them. But it was getting them, first of all, to recognize, in fact, I'll show you the 4 questions. I do have that in this packet. Don't let me forget the 4 questions. Okay, good. Great question. I'm going to stop right here because, Mark, when is a good time for a break? Is this a good?
Just whenever you feel like it.
We go to what time?
Well, it was 2 hours, so 6:30, 20 to 7.
Okay.
Somewhere around there.
Wow. Time goes by fast. Okay.
I'm dying for the toilet, but I didn't want to.
Yeah, okay, listen, I'll tell you what, let's take a 5-minute break. There's some fruit back there and things like that. And then I'll put a few things.